Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins.
Hey folks, welcome back. If you were just tuning in, I apologize. Apparently all of my Xfinity, Comcast, internet, TV, everything just picked a random minute to die and stop working. So we are back on my 4G, and I hope that there won't be a problem. So let me know if you're having any connectivity issues or any issues hearing me or anything like that. Please let me know in the comments or let me know in chat so that I can correct that for you. I've also closed the doors so that you can't hear the motorcycles and people yelling, and this is that time of day, so when you live in a populated area, people tend to come by with their loud cars and motorcycles, and because it's super impressive when you hear a car engine rev, because you have to have special talent to hit the gas, right? I mean, that's a really special talent, and it totally makes women just fall into bed with you. So I digress. But there are also laws against modified bikes to have your engine modified to be louder, and apparently people don't care about that. So yeah, I don't mind the traffic of people going in and out of restaurants and parking their cars, but revving your engine because there's a woman sitting out on her balcony recording a show is not helpful. And coming by with your modified bike engine and just revving the shit out of it is a little bit disruptful and disrespectful in a residential area. There's kind of a dive bar behind me, and I like motorcycles and bikers, but man, those modified engines are really annoying in a populated area. So I apologize again profusely for that sound and that just kind of noise pollution in the background. Thankfully we have good soundproofing here, so when I just close my veranda doors, it disappears. Yay, for the most part. So again, I apologize for the technical issues and the sound pollution issues, and thank you for rejoining me here. So we're going to talk about this issue of you've lost weight and whether or not that's a compliment. So I have my own feelings on this, and I'm not going to launch into a huge long story about it, but I have had bosses, coworkers, people I've worked with, clients compliment me on my weight. I have had people basically just tell me they've noticed what my weight is. I struggled with an eating disorder for years in college and toward the end of high school. I was not healthy at all. During that time, I wouldn't consider myself to be healthy. Eating half a cup of soup or half a bagel a day is not healthy. Taking weight loss pills when you already weigh, 30, 40 pounds under your the healthy weight for your height is not healthy or helpful. So when I hear compliments like that in my life today, it kind of breaks my heart. I'm why is thin healthy and anything but thin unhealthy? Why is that? Why do you feel that? That's what I want to ask people when they say that. So you're saying when I lose weight because of my autoimmune illnesses and because of the severe pain that I'm in, you're telling me that's good? That's healthy? When you're encouraging thoughts and feelings connected to my eating disorder, I should thank you for that? Really? Really? I guess we're just living in two different worlds. I feel that is just utterly disrespectful and hurtful and judgmental. And what you're saying as a professional in psychology and as a person and as somebody who struggled with an eating disorder, I think what you're saying when you point out that someone's weight has changed or that you approve of their weight now, you're saying, I didn't approve of your weight before. I've been keeping an eye on things. I've been keeping an eye on your weight. I've been judging your weight, and that is not okay. I've been judging your health. I find you right now to be more healthy, and I approve. Before, I found you to be unhealthy, unpleasant to look at, and I disapproved. So please understand that besides the explicit thing that you're saying, that the you've lost weight and I've noticed thing, whatever that means, there is an implicit part of what you're leaving unsaid, which is actually very hurtful. So implied is, I've noticed your weight before. I did not approve of it. It looked bad to me. It looked unhealthy. I didn't like it. And I basically was judging you. I was judging you before, and I'm letting you know now, because now you are in a place where I approve of your weight, whereas before I was secretly judging you. Now I can let you know that I've been judging you all along, and that now I approve. So congratulations to you on reaching a place where I can approve of your weight, and where I can finally be honest with you about having noticed it all along. So even if you didn't intend to say all of that, you still said it. Okay? I just want you to understand, if you've been complimenting people on their weight, commenting on their weight, even if you didn't intend to say all of that, you still said it. Okay? That is implicit in what you said. Oftentimes, when we tell somebody something, what we don't say says just as much as what we do say. So please remember this. Also, folks, I just want to put a little PSA out there. You don't know who you're talking to. You could be talking to somebody who just got diagnosed with cancer and lost weight due to their chemo. You could be talking to somebody who just was diagnosed with some other horrible illness, who just lost somebody they loved, which is the case with me. People complimented me on losing weight after my dad died, and I literally just wanted to kick them in the shins. I was like, do you understand how hurtful and disrespectful what you said to me just was? Obviously, I didn't kick anybody in the shins, but it came to my mind. So, to say, oh gosh, you've lost weight, you look great, after somebody dies and that person is suffering their loss. Guys, please, that's horrific. That's a horrible thing to say. To say, oh, you look great, you've lost weight, and to not, to know, for instance, with me, that I have a couple of chronic illnesses. If you say that to me, there's a problem. If you know that I'm ill and you still say that to me, yeah, that's a problem. That's very hurtful. If you don't understand that, I've really got to question whether maybe you're being a touch selfish here, or whether you're actually thinking of me. Because when we make comments and quote-unquote compliments like this, are you thinking of me? Are you thinking of the person you're giving the compliment to? Or are you thinking of you and your own judgments? So, I thought that might resonate for folks who believe in the power of positivity. Are you being positive? I want to challenge you on that. Is that a positive thing to say? Is that a positive compliment? I don't know. You tell me. So there's something implied there that, aside from the explicit nature of what you've said, there is something implied that cannot be ignored. It's not a great compliment, is it, when we look at it like that? You're putting your judgments onto that person. You're saying, I noticed, like I said, you're saying, before I noticed that you weren't meeting sort of my standards or society's standards or what have you. Now I notice that you are. Congratulations on that. That's very selfish. It's not very kind, and I understand that's sometimes not how people mean it. And if that's the case, I want you to stop saying this. I want you to really think about stopping saying this to people. It's definitely a setup for later on, because you've put that person on notice. If they gain weight later, they're going to be very self-conscious. They're going to remember that you kind of judged them and had to comment on their weight. So, if they gain weight later, that's going to be very upsetting to them. They're not going to want to be around you. They're going to feel very judged by you, whether you say anything or not. As we all know, diets have a yo-yo effect. Weight loss programs pretty much all have a yo-yo effect. So to say, "Oh, you look great," knowing factually that it's not gonna be sustainable, that's not okay. The only way to be healthy in life at all, and I'm not talking about weight, I mean in general, is to exercise, eat well, and do some introspection and look at yourself and shine a sort of a light on yourself. Turn a critical eye inward. Make sure that you're improving yourself on the inside. This is the best way to have that reflected on the outside in any way. So diets and weight loss programs are not the way to do it. Turn a critical eye inward, improve yourself on the inside. It will show on the outside in the most positive of ways. And make sure that you're eating healthy, that you're eating well, that you're taking care of yourself, that you respect and love yourself. Make sure that you've got healthy boundaries. Make sure that you're exercising regularly, whatever that means for you. Everybody's body is different. And folks, please understand that people are shaped differently. Why are you subscribing to a cultural norm that's been set forth by fashion and clothing companies not wanting to spend more to make their clothes? What does that have to do with anything regarding health? I was in modeling for a while, and that is sort of the big secret of the modeling industry and of the fashion industry. Clothing designers do not want to spend extra money to get more fabric for their clothes. So it's not that they put models out there who are thin because thin is attractive. It's a cost-benefit analysis. Do I want to spend more money to clothe this model, whether if these clothes may not even make it off the runway, or do I want to spend less? And obviously, yes, that has some really bad implications in society, and that has some really unhealthy implications, and that's a way to sort of disrespect other people's bodies. Spending the money to actually clothe a regularly sized person would probably be a better example to set. And yes, companies are moving toward that model now, but in the past, that's not how it was. And essentially, that sort of spread out to mainstream society, because that is what we were seeing on runways and in magazines. And to sell more clothes and to sell more products, we sort of made sure to copy that standard and sort of copy paste, put it out there, and saturate the media with it and saturate society with it. So it has nothing to do with what's healthy or what looks good. It's purely financial. So to try to subscribe to that standard yourself and meet that standard of quote unquote beauty when it has nothing to do with beauty is futile, it's silly, and it's unhealthy. And then to put that standard to put that standard onto somebody else and to say, now you should be meeting this standard, is really not okay. And I'm sure that many people haven't looked at it like this before, but now that you have, I wonder if maybe you'll consider not using that as a compliment anymore, okay? You're not the monitor, the hall monitor for everybody else's body. You're not. You're not. You don't need to surveil people. You don't need to watch people. You don't need to be somebody who monitors everyone else. You don't need to make sure other people subscribe to that standard. You don't need to let people know that you accept or do not accept their body. It's not your job to do that, in fact. To tell somebody, I accept your body, in any way means that A, you probably haven't accepted it before, and B, you're telling them that they have to subscribe to your standards and that you have to accept it. I don't have to accept your body. You don't have to accept mine. I don't have to like your body. You don't have to like mine. If we're friends or loved ones or what have you, there's something more to that relationship that hopefully than what you look like. And if you can't keep that out of it, then maybe there's a problem. Now, this is very different than telling somebody if their fly is down or telling somebody if their hair is sticking straight up, right? This doesn't have to do explicitly with who they are as a person and, how their body exists in its natural form, right? So I want to point that difference out. As far as what I mentioned about being sort of the monitor or the judge for other people's bodies, when you're saying things like you've lost weight or you look really good now that you've lost weight, that's sort of telling that person, hey, I want you to know that I'm judging you and I want you to accept that as something that's okay. That's not okay. It's not. I've been guilty of this myself in the past, and I no longer use that as a compliment because it's not one. It's not one. Okay? You're also making the assumption that that person wanted to change their body. You're making the assumption that that person wanted to lose that weight. You're making the assumption that that person still wants to change their body, and that's not okay. That's not okay. I will never forget the time when my boss commented on my body. That's not okay. It really isn't. And the way that she said what she said was just inexcusable and bizarre and unprofessional. And especially as women, our bodies are on display enough for everyone else's judgment. Can we stop doing this to each other, please? And can we stop accepting when other people do this to us? Can we please just, stand up? Not that it's down to the receiver of this quote unquote compliment to stop it from happening, but it is appropriate to put up boundaries and to say, hey, I think that you're trying to give me a compliment right now. I appreciate the spirit of that, but my body's just not up for discussion, and I hope maybe you'll respect that going forward. Just say something like that. Let people know that this is not something that you're willing to have be a topic for discussion. And I think that should suffice. And if people can't respect that, you may need to move away from that person for a time, because that's not okay. It's not healthy psychologically to be having these quote unquote compliments foisted on you. That's not okay. It's really not. Okay. Now, if you're in a Taking Off Pounds Sensibly or Weight Watchers meeting, it's okay to say, wow, good job on that weight loss, because people are there to lose weight. Outside of a freaking Weight Watchers meeting or a TOPS meeting or what have you, you don't need to compliment on nobody else's body. You don't need to actually say, I noticed you've been losing weight. Good job. Not okay. Not okay. Okay? So let's think of it that way. Let's think of it that way. If you compliment somebody on their weight and they tell you, hey, I just lost a loved one. I've just been diagnosed with a major illness. I've got cancer. I've got HIV, what have you. How are you going to feel about it then? Right? So can we just assume that not everybody out there actually wants to change their body, wants to lose weight? And can we assume that we may not know the full story of that person's life? So maybe we shouldn't be sort of giving those compliments out. And maybe they're not compliments in the first place, Okay. So let's think of it that way. Let's think of it that way. And it really isn't down to anybody else to tell us what their health situation is, what their mental health, what their physical health situation is. It's not down to anybody else to tell us, hey, I've just lost a loved one, if they don't want to. So then to compliment them on their weight, which again is an issue to do with innate, state of being of the body, not something we've put on, like clothing or lipstick or our hair has been done a certain way. It's innate state of being of the body. That's not an okay subject to discuss. And that is something that, again, you don't know what's going on in that person's life. They don't need to tell you. So let's not assume that they want to change their body and that we should applaud them for this weight loss. Would you think of it this way? If you are one of those people who looks at fat as bad, thin as good, would you compliment somebody if they gained weight? No, you wouldn't. Well, then don't compliment them on loss of weight. Again, it could be from an illness. It could be from a psychological condition. It could be due to loss or something like that. So please don't assume. I will never forget that just shortly after I recovered from my eating disorder, a quote-unquote friend added me to a Facebook group for people who wanted to lose weight. Did I ever express wanting to lose weight to her? Did I ever express wanting to stay stick thin and unhealthy to her? No, I did not. Did she ask me, hey, are you looking to change your body? Are you looking to lose weight? No, she did not. Okay, so to add me to that group when I was recovering from an eating disorder, poor taste. Poor taste. Same goes for gaining weight though too. Let me touch on that really briefly. If somebody is ill, if somebody has some sort of condition of, God knows what kind, because bad health can affect us in many ways. Illnesses can affect us in many ways. So let's say somebody has some sort of a condition, any kind really, and it causes them to gain weight. Are we going to comment on that? No, we're not. So let's not assume that somebody who loses weight is trying to lose weight and that that's a positive thing for them. Let's just not comment on the innate qualities of somebody's body, shall we? How about if we agree to that? What do you guys think? I think that this is a major issue, and I think that it's extremely, extremely important to try to respect other people's autonomy, to try to respect other people's bodies and other people's health. So feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. Keep it respectful. And thank you for tuning in. I hope that this has given you some perspective, or maybe that you just agree with what was said, or that this has made you think in some way. And I really wish you the very best of luck going forward. And hopefully this has helped you on that path in some way or another. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you're not alone, and just be kind to yourselves. All right, talk with you later.